Welcome to the Pitch Your Pick podcast, the podcast where we dive deep into all the sports books, find our favorite plays, and pitch them to each other to find the best picks every day. Today is February 26th, 2022, and we have a decent slate of games. I'm Joe. This is Jared. How you doing today, my man?
I'm doing well. It's Friday night. We're recording at night tonight. I'm on a heater with my bets. I think I won a total of 7-2, 6-1 on my personal plays. I think I bet your LaMelo Ball play, and that didn't go so well. But other than that, I was on a heater.
We'll,
So
we'll
I'm
get into LaMelo a
fantastic
little
tonight.
later. We'll see what he did. It wasn't a pretty one, but I guess actually getting into that, we can show our yesterday's performance where it was an interesting one. We had Miami 5.5 versus the Knicks. That was a great check. It got a little squirrely, but the Knicks is a terrible fourth quarter team, so it was fine. Anything to do with that Raptors and Hornets game was absolute trash. It was horrible. LaMelo didn't go. Gary Trent didn't go. And Pascal Siakam also didn't go. Just wasn't a good time to bet on. Your Luka under 49.5 points, rebound, and assists. That was a beautiful check mark. And Devin Booker just barely missed his 36.5 points and assists, which was a bit of a tough one. But, it is what it is. So we can check out the slate that we have tonight for all the games. In the NBA, it's actually not too shabby of a one for this Saturday. We have the Celtics, Pistons, Raptors, Hawks, Wizards, Cavs, Spurs versus the Heat, the Grizzlies versus the Bulls. I think it's going to be a great game to watch. Super fun. Nets and the Bucks and the Kings and the Nuggets. We'll be talking about a few of these a little bit later. For the NHL, it's an interesting one as well, isn't it, Jer?
Yeah, we got, what is it here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 games on the ice tonight. There's a couple interesting ones. The Florida Panthers are on a 2-game losing streak at home, probably for the first time this season. They had only lost 3 games before that. They're taking on the Edmonton Oilers tonight, so that'll be a star-studded game between Connor McDavid and Jonathan Huberdeau on the other side. We're going to talk more about the Montreal Canadiens Ottawa Senators game later. The Rangers at the Penguins should be an interesting one, and Colorado at Vegas. The two best teams in the Pacific Division are squaring off tonight. You could see this as a playoff matchup coming up soon. That is going to be an interesting game with both teams kind of struggling a little bit right now on offense, but it should be an interesting one either way.
And then for our NCAA, the college basketball, my Saturdays are a beautiful time to be in college basketball. There's so many top 25 matchups. I'm probably going to run out of breath trying to say them all, so we'll just look at them pretty quick. Purdue, Kentucky, Arkansas, Texas, Auburn. We have UCLA as well. Duke is playing against my Syracuse Orange. If you want some easy money, make sure you bet on Duke over at the cover that spread at 7.5. It is going to be money for them. I mean, trust me, I'm a Syracuse fan. I've watched almost every game this season. Duke is running away with this one. Wisconsin, I'm not sure if they have their players back, but they're playing against Rutgers after getting their assistant coach smacked out. Might be a fun game to watch. You never know what could happen. And number 2, Arizona is playing another top 10 matchup here with Kansas and Baylor. Could be fun. And number 1, Gonzaga versus St. Mary's, 2 top 25 teams out there in that wonderful division. Could be a fun one. So overall, it's great. And if you even switch it to the Division 1 matchups, there are so many college basketball games. You could tune it on at noon and watch all the way till midnight. Just a bunch of great college basketball games. So it's going to be great no matter what you do. Just have some fun. So we're going back to old traditional. We're going to have Jared pitch the first pick of the podcast. I did it first last time. Felt a little weird. Didn't feel right. So he's coming back in with his first, the first pick of the day.
So, as I said, we were going to look more at this Montreal Canadiens Ottawa Senators game. And usually for my picks, I'll go with a lot more analytical driven statistical stuff. But with a team that's like 12-33, there aren't many good statistics to support betting on them, but I'm going to do it anyway. So the Montreal Canadiens, their team total is set at 2.5, and I like them to go over in this one. As I said, they've been one of the worst teams in the NHL this season, but recently they got a new coach, in Marty St. Louis, the ex-NHL star. And he has the Canadiens playing a lot better right now. He's moved Cole Caulfield to the top line. I think it's given this team new life. Over the last 5 games, the top line of Caulfield, Suzuki, and Anderson has been dominating. They have 9 goals combined between the three of them in their last 5 games. Over their last 5 games, they're 5-0 to the team total. And they're also 4-1 straight up and have been the most profitable team in the NHL over that time span. The Senators ranked 25th in goals allowed this season. They're missing their top 2 forwards in Josh North and Drake Batherson. At home this season, the Senators are allowing 3.0 goals per game, and recently the Senators haven't been giving up as many goals. However, Montreal's been taking advantage a lot of their high danger scoring chances in their last 5 games and creating a lot of odd man rushes and creating easy looks. The Canadiens have been playing a more up-tempo game recently, and without the Stars, I don't think the Senators will be able to slow the pace down. I do like the over in this one, but Ottawa's offense is a little too inconsistent for me, so I'm just going to take that out of the equation here and bet the Canadiens team total.
Yeah, we were talking about this one a little bit earlier, and it was interesting. I just love the fact that they've just switched it up, and it's just been looking better. It's always fun. We were talking about it a little bit earlier, bringing in just some different people and just saying, hey, go out there, just have a good time. Can be a good just thing for the team. So I like that. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch just in general out there. So why not? I'm going to be switching it back to the NBA for mine just because, the NBA is back. I got to have some fun with it a little bit longer. Plus, there was just so many college basketball games that I honestly felt way too overwhelmed with it. I was like, you know what? I just have to move along from this. There's a bunch of really great plays, but I just recommend if you're interested in teams, just go play them yourself. Anyway, I'm going to be taking this one down to the Bucks versus the Nets. Now, I think it's a little bit too simple to say that the Bucks are going to cover the spread against this one, because let's be honest, the Bucks are probably going to cover the spread against the Nets here. It was too simple for me. I didn't want to make it a podcast pick, although I think it's going to be fun. And I'm going to be going over with Giannis and doing a bit of a hot take, I guess you will. And I'm going to be picking Giannis's under on his points, rebounds, and assists because it's currently set at 48.5. I think that's a little bit high for Giannis, given this is probably going to be a blowout. If we're really being honest with ourselves here, I just think that Giannis really isn't going to be doing too much in this game just because they're probably going to run away with this one. Ben Simmons, still not playing. Dragic probably will be making his debut. It's still not 100% certain, but Dragic may be coming in there. But that's just another guard. I'm going to be honest. The Nets have way too many guards already. I don't really think that moves the needle too much for this Brooklyn, team. Now, Giannis is absolutely insane. In the previous games that he's played against the Nets, he's actually gone rogue against them. I think he averages like 30 a game against the Nets this season. But in all those games that were relatively closely contested, Kevin Durant, James Harden played in one of those games. And then the other one, Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving played in the other one. So, it's probably not going to be looking like that tonight, given it's only going to be Kyrie. And they're playing at home. Bucks, one of the best teams at home. So it's just looking like this one is going to be farther and farther away. And if you even look at the total teams, in the game where Harden and KD played against the Bucks, it was still a 13-point win. And then in the other one, it was a 25-point win for the Bucks. Now, I wanted to dive deep and see what was going on with Giannis if he played above or below 30 minutes. This one took a little bit of calculating, but when Giannis plays above 30 minutes this season, he averages 37.2 points, 11.5 rebounds, and 6 assists, which is 54 points, rebounds, and assists on average. But when he plays below 30 minutes, which is what I'm expecting to see tonight, given what it's looking like the score is going to be, Giannis is only averaging 25.5 points, 9.1 rebounds, and 6.4 assists, which is only a 41 points, rebounds, and assists average, which is pretty nice. The Nets are currently 20th in defensive rating, but if we check out their last 10 games that they've been playing with Kyrie, they're actually the worst team in the league in defense. And as a fun exercise, I went and looked at the current worst team in defensive rating just overall throughout the entire season. It's the Houston Rockets, who we can all agree are horrible. And the Houston Rockets have a defensive rating on the season of 116. With Kyrie Irving this season, they have a 122 defensive rating, which is equal to the difference between the Bucks and the Rockets, the 12th team in the Bucks and the 30th ranked Rockets. So the Nets are really bad defensively when Kyrie is in and KD is not. It's been bad. So honestly, I see the Bucks just absolutely running away with this one. Giannis not playing a lot of playing time and just hitting pretty easily under that under.
Yeah. I've got a few things to throw at you to add to that pick there. That you did all your calculations. All I did was go to props.cash. No free shoutouts, obviously. Over on games that Giannis has played on the road this season, if you had to take a guess, out of 25 games, how many games has he hit this total?
I would go somewhere above the majority.
You would be very wrong, my friend.
Interesting.
He's hit 7 of his 25 games on the road this season.
Uh-huh.
He's hit 3 of his last 10. He has only covered 1 of his last 7. And in the last 5 that he hasn't covered, he only had 33 at Phoenix, 43 at the Clippers, 44 at Portland, 38 at Cleveland, 39 at Atlanta. So in those games, like, he wasn't even getting close.
The problem is they're playing at home.
Oh, they're at home?
Yeah, they're playing at Milwaukee.
I thought you said the
well.
Bucks. Oh, well, he's
Yeah, it's looking even better for them. He's covering when they're at home.
He's covering at home, but yeah.
In a matchup where they're not even going to be in a close contention at all, I don't even think the Nets really give
If I get close, yeah, like if I look at the season here at home, he doesn't cover against the Spurs, he doesn't cover against the Knicks, he doesn't cover against Oklahoma, he doesn't cover against Orlando, he doesn't cover against Detroit, he doesn't cover against Cleveland, doesn't cover against Detroit, doesn't cover against Toronto, doesn't cover against Cleveland, doesn't cover against Denver.
Yeah, the second he doesn't have to play that 30 minutes, he's like, I'm good.
Yeah,
like,
he's done.
That's all he needs. So overall,
so as long as I don't screw up who's playing at home and who's not on the road,
it should be okay.
We should be okay, but yeah, at home, I would still bet that, like, he's not gonna play.
Yeah,
he plays in. And another thing I want to say is he plays in such short spurts of minutes. If they jump out to a lead in the first quarter, like, he might only play 24 minutes.
I think this is a game where Giannis doesn't even really need to play and they still win. Like, he could
easily
come in, get 1 rebound, sit on the bench, and I bet you Middleton can drop 35 and win the game himself.
Probably. Yeah.
Anyway, let's bring it on to your next one.
Yeah, so I'm going to the NBA for my next pick as well, and I got another player prop, and this is one that I said that I don't think many people would bet or many people would find, but I'm gonna look at Saddiq Bey over 2.5 assists. So this one, Saddiq Bey has gone over in 56% of games this season, and he's covered in 8 of their last 10 games. He's clearing this total easily. 6 of these 8 covers have had 4+ assists. He has covered in his last 9 out of his 10 games on 1 day's rest. The Pistons have played Boston twice this season so far, and those matchups, Bey is 2-0 and has 4 assists and 6 assists. It should be noted that in both these games have been played in February, and Saddiq Bey has been on a tear recently, and I like him to go over here tonight against Boston. I'm going to take the over. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at Saddiq Bey's previous performances, I mean, in February in general, he has been absolutely hooping. You could really pick anything for Saddiq Bey over, and it's probably looking good. I mean, we're looking at 13 rebounds here. He got 11 here. His points are consistently hitting above the 20s. I mean, his assists are always looking great. I mean, Saddiq Bey honestly is just playing great for this Detroit team who needs a spark of somebody to just play good. Saddiq Bey has just been like, you know what? It's going to be me, guys. I got you. Plus, Cade is coming back, so you would think that Cade is back. So I think in general, the ball movement should be looking better for the team. Everybody's actually getting around a little bit, which means Saddiq should have a better opportunity as long as his teammates hit his shots. Because one of the games that he didn't cover was in Cleveland, and his teammates were not helping him out. Cade was 4 of 16, and Jeremy Grant was 4 of 15. I mean, somebody's got to hit the shots off of Saddiq's passes. I mean, come on, man.
Somebody's got to hit a shot.
Like, they were selling him out, but I love that one. I think Saddiq's been a super underrated player in general this season. I think that prop is it's beautiful. I love it.
It's money.
And for my last pick, we're also keeping it in the NBA, and I'm going back to the points, rebounds, and assists. And we actually didn't talk about this one at all before the podcast started, which is beautiful. And I'm bringing it down. And I think as soon as I say this team, you could probably guess who I'm betting it on. The Kings and the Nuggets. And you could probably assume who I'm heading over to.
Yeah. That's going to be a Nikola Jokic.
We are heading to Nikola Jokic, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who, if you go to the Nuggets and check out the leader in their stats, he's got all 5. He's a leader in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks, and probably turnovers too. I just didn't look at it. So with Nikola Jokic, the guy has been absolutely hooping. His over is at 49.5, and I'm actually going to take it. I like it at here just because of some stats with the Kings where they're just honestly kind of horrible. So Jokic at the over 49.5 points, rebound, and assists is admittedly a little bit steep. We were betting on him to get 50 points, rebounds, and assists. But we're talking about a guy who's averaging 26 points and 14 rebounds on the season, which is just unreal, along with 8 assists, which is, again, it's just crazy. Now, they're going to be playing the Kings, who are one of the fastest playing teams in the NBA. The Nuggets are a little bit slower there, but going against the Kings, it can be a little bit faster. They already have played the Kings, I think, twice this season, one coming 2 days ago on the 24th, where Jokic had 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists, which is still a damn good little set of games. I think it's just under what we're looking for tonight, but it's still pretty damn good for Jokic. They're going against a Kings team who was the 29th worst defense, and if you actually look at them with Sabonis, since that trade, they are easily the worst defense in the NBA right now, which is just not looking good. And with that, Jokic, or the Kings, are allowing centers to score the 6th most total points in the NBA, along with allowing centers to grab the 6th most total rebounds in the NBA. So just off stats, the Kings are struggling to rebound against good, competent big men, and against any big men they can score, the Kings are really struggling to guard them as well, and it hasn't gotten better with Sabonis, because Sabonis, a great offensive player, but he really hasn't been able to hold it down on the defensive end for majority of his career. So this is just looking like, stats-wise, a game where Jokic can absolutely eat. He's also been hooping in the month of February. He's averaging 26, 14, and 8, which are just unreal stats. At home, he's averaging an absurd 27.5 points, 13.3 rebounds, and 9.3 assists in his last 15 games at home, and they're playing at home tonight. I think, in general, if there is a game that is set up for Jokic to eat, it is tonight, and I'm going to go with his over at 49.5. It is steep, but I do kind of like it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
to be honest, I don't disagree with your premise.
Yeah. The problem is it's steep.
It's so steep
that it's hard to give. I would disagree that it's hard to give it a definitive yes.
Yeah, like, because the way I see these, like, when I see 49.5, I see that's basically, I set the bar at 30-point triple-double kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I set the bar at least minimum 25 points.
Which Jokic has almost consistently done every night.
Yeah.
So,
but then like I know I just bet an assist prop, but then I go back to the assists, and then the rebounds can be so finicky, and to get 12, and then if you're only scoring 25 a night, you need 12 and 13.
Yeah, if you're looking at Jokic,
which
the only
he can do,
iffy thing is his assists, if we're being honest. I mean, most nights he does have those boards with it.
Yeah, and we like the double, like his double price is just stupid. Like his double is like minus 200. The rebounds are a given.
Yeah, he's cashed. I mean, and he actually is a player that I think is coming close to some of the most either near or at 20 rebound games that we've seen this season, which is kind of crazy as well. He's a triple-double machine. He's getting the boards. And again, against a team like Sacramento who likes to play fast and chuck up shots, even if they're not the smartest, and give up a lot of rebounds, which is not a great rebounding team, it is a perfect situation for Jokic to go off. And the fact that the Nuggets really aren't the most set up to have a deep center position. I think they just picked up Boogie, who, if you were to look position-wise, is actually their only other center position player on the team. And I don't think there's any other major injuries aside from obviously the Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray. So they're as healthy as they've been all season. So it's looking pretty good for them to go with Monte Morris, Gordon, Barton, Jokic, and they have Bones Highland, who's been playing great off the bench together. Overall, I think it's good. I do agree though that it is steep and it's tough to give it the definitive A-OK, but I do like it and could easily see it happening.
I think that I don't think I would say I'm betting under on this. I definitely wouldn't bet under.
Yeah.
But the thing, I think you just made your case there, or like case I want to make by you talking was, I think the team has just been playing much better recently. He hasn't had to do as much. When I look at their last 10 home games, he's only covered this total 3 times.
That's fair.
And in they're in their last 4 games, they're at home. They're 3-1 against the spread, so they're playing well as a team. But he hasn't covered this total in any of those games. He's had 46, 49, 39, and 48. So I just don't know if he might just be getting like too much help right now, almost per se, to cover a 49.5 line.
Yeah, that is fair. I mean, the also thing that you could look at is that the Kings are still maybe trying to find their way into their lineup.
The thing I do want to add to this too is like the Sabonis is not good on defense, and the last time Sacramento played Denver, Jokic covered this line. He had 50 on the dot.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting.
Yeah,
they also are a team.
He had 33 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists. So
you also got to think if they can speed them up as well, it's also looking pretty damn solid.
Yeah.
So.
And like I think Jokic is one of those guys, like just kind of more like LeBron. LeBron never gets sped up. LeBron controls the pace of every game.
Yeah.
Just because he's smarter than everyone. I think Jokic is just one of those guys that always controls the pace.
Yeah.
It could happen where like they get up a bunch and then they start running with them, which in that case I would like this prop to go over. They go up early and then, but like not too much early, like enough to hang around where Jokic still has to play.
Yeah, this is also
like the 12-point range. I like that prop to go over when Sacramento starts having run and gun in the second half to try and catch up. I like that.
At like a similar game as well. Like the Sixers are similar in pace to the Nuggets and have a similar center in Embiid. Obviously, you can't really compare the two skill sets. But in that game, it was 101 for the Kings, 103. Granted, this was before the trade, so you got to think they're even worse defensively now against a center like that. And they let Embiid go for 36 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 assists earlier in February. So it's just a thing that could happen. That's a pretty damn good one right there. I think that's 54 for Embiid off of that in a 2-point game against the Kings. And they're even worse rebounding and defensively with Sabonis out there. So you never know.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not betting an under on this play. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. I think it's just I also have like, I don't know if I don't love betting on stars. I don't know why. It's just a thing of mine. I tend to like finding like totals between like 10 and 15, or like if I'm doing points, rebounds, assists, like between like you're a LaMelo Ball one or yesterday, like 36.5 to like 26.5 kind of thing, right? Those mid-tier guys that are always consistent. When the stars, sometimes when they start going off, the books just inflate them because the public loves to bet them.
Yeah, I can take a peek at FanDuel right now, on the sports books, and you could actually look for an alternative. Obviously, the odds won't be as good on it. But I think if you can find something, or even around like 45, 46, I think even Jokic can easily hit that.
I think I don't even think you need that. I think I would take 45 and 46 and parlay that with something else.
Yeah.
Maybe Sadiq Bey over 2.5 assists. But even if you could get like, the number 49 is the number that scares me on these things.
That's fair.
48.5, 47.5, I would feel a lot more comfortable with this number. Like, because even looking at this, on the season, Jokic goes at 49.5, he's 43%. But even if I drop that down to 48%, he goes up to 52%.
Yeah. I think it's
Like
also
he plays so many games close to that total, but gets like loses on that hook of 49.5 so many times, just because it's so steep. It seems.
Yeah, it's also. I mean, you got to think they've also taken into consideration the fact that they are playing the Kings, who are weak defensively against centers and rebounding. So they definitely put that higher.
And like, if you look on Twitter, people love betting on Jokic. Books, they're gonna juice the odds so they make their profit too. So fade the public, folks. Fade the public.
So that is our 4 picks. I think it was 4 that we've made today. This is our first night episode of our podcast. We had more conversation this time, less picks, but more conversation, which I think is always fun. You can hear the debate back and forth. We're gonna make our quick little page where we can show you guys our picks for the day, and then we can send you off on your way with an earlier podcast than normal, although it was recorded later for us. We'll be there in a second. All right, so here are today's picks. We have Giannis under 48.5 points, rebounds, and assists at -106. Saddiq Bey over 2.5 assists at -120. The Canadiens versus Senators at over 2.5 team total. And Nikola Jokic over 49.5 points, rebounds, and assists at very steep total at -118. It's been a good one, a fun one. Let me know what you guys think of this first later night podcast. If we're too fugazi for you guys, we're just not speaking clearly enough. We can always move it a little early and that sort of stuff. You never know. And just the earlier podcast, you guys can see the picks a little bit earlier and maybe get some of the better lines that we're looking at right now. So if you guys did enjoy this and you're watching it on YouTube, hit that like button down below. Comment what you guys thought of the podcast and that subscribe button. And if you're on any of the podcast platforms, make sure you leave us a review, a nice golden 5 stars for our beautiful faces every single day. Go out there, make some bets, and make some money.
See ya!